What up, superhumans? BT here. Man, oh man, we've got a fun video for you today. This is actually a video you've been requesting for a little over a year, and I'm now just getting to it. As you can see, I've got a big pile of Compex devices, and that's because we're comparing all of the devices in the current Compex lineup. So at the end of this video, you're gonna know exactly which device suits you and your needs the best. I'm really pumped because my friend Katie Type A, also on YouTube, just dropped an awesome video explaining what Compex is, what NMES is, neuromuscular electrical stimulation. So if you're new to all of this and you need that kind of rundown, click up here for her video. If not, let's jump into the comparison. Before we start, I want to give you a quick caveat. These are the US devices. Yes, there is a difference between the US and international devices. They have different names, but because medical devices are monitored and regulated differently in other countries, they have different functions and different programs as well. So we're just covering the US ones. And I know that might suck because so many of you that are watching aren't in the US. I've got a lot of followers that are outside of the US. Speaking of which, I think only 2% of viewers are following this channel.
Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Hit that subscribe button, it's free, and will make you eligible for some kick-ass giveaways, one of which is at the end of this video, and I will tell you about at the end of this video. In the lineup of Compex devices, they're basically broken down into two categories, wired and wireless. Here we have the wired versions. The wires, the leads are plugged in at the bottom. This is the Gen 2 and the Gen 3, and there are some differences. We're gonna save the Gen 2 towards the end of the video, but in both the Gen 2 and the Gen 3, there are 3 separate models. Now, these are the 2 wireless options that Compex currently has. This is the Wireless 2.0 and the Wireless Mini. We're going to discuss all of this later, but let's jump into the differences of the wired devices. First of all, this is like a slippery plastic. This has a much grippier like neoprene sleeve, and the neoprene and these covers actually make this water resistant, which this is not. You'll also notice that these ports, there's 4 of them and there's 5 on here because this one requires an AC adapter to charge it, and that goes into the port. This just has the port covers for the leads. The charger is now under here and it's micro USB. All right, so that goes there. On here you have a selector switch and then the 4 lead options. With the Gen 3, we've got our selector switches for the 4 leads, but it now uses a D-pad. The LED screen is far, far better. It's color. It now has pad placement on here, and understanding how long each of the programs takes is much better. There's nothing physically different between the Edge, the Performance, or the Sport Elite. Their only differences come from the programs that they offer. Now, this is where it gets really confusing. This is the actual comparison of the programs to each model, and it's not correct. Not all of them have potentiation. The only one that does is the Sport Elite. If we come in here and watch this actual video, the Performance, and go to the same programs, we've got endurance, resistance, strength, pre-warm-up, training recovery, active recovery, pain relief, intense. See, no potentiation. And if we go to Edge, it's got even less: endurance, resistance, training recovery, active recovery, pain relief, intense. In the wireless category, let's start with the Wireless Mini. You've got this little hard case that it comes with. I don't think it's that great of a design, to be honest. Like, there's just a lot of open space here. I feel like this could be half the size and it would make it even more portable. Like, this has clips for these. I don't know why. You could just put them in here. I kind of like the clips, but again, you could just cut this down the middle. Accidentally turned it on. It just takes one little beep, and this is essentially what is powering the device. All All right, just FYI. It's got micro USB. Not a huge fan of those because like if one breaks, good luck finding somebody that has that charger, that connection. You're gonna have to order. This is super old connection. I don't know why we're not using USB-C here. But anyway, this shows you your battery life, etc. The major difference, as you can see, between this and maybe the wired or even the wireless 2.0 that we'll talk about is there's no screen. So how do you operate this thing? Well, it uses an app. So if you don't want to be on your phone, then this is obviously not the product for you. But if you don't mind it, let's jump into the app. It's called Compex Mini. On the homepage, you've got a bunch of different options. Really the only ones that you'll concern yourself with are the training log, the programs, and the pad placement. Let's quickly go over the programs. We've got our pre-warm-up, endurance, resistance, active recovery, muscle relaxation, and relief. So this offers 10s. That relief is 10s. Also, it doesn't go up nearly as high on intensity as some of the other devices, as all of the other devices actually. There's also one other major gripe that I have with this, and you have to register. I don't know why. I don't know why I need to put in my name and my email and set up a profile to use this. None of the other devices do that. I would love to just be able to turn it on and use it. It's just kind of annoying. The other thing that I really dislike about the app, even though the app is cool, is that it's incredibly laggy. When I want to jump onto the app and adjust the intensity, you can't really see it, but when I want to adjust the intensity, the lag that you feel is frustrating. This is the wireless 2.0, and this is Compex's flagship. It's like $460, $470. I will put the correct price here. When you order it, this is what it comes with. It is a much larger footprint than any of the other devices. You open this up, and as you can see, these are the pods. Those are the things that the leads connect to. That's what goes onto your skin. It uses it uses a combination. In the back, there is an AC outlet, DC, AC, DC. I always confuse those. But anyway, you plug it in here. This little guy is charged by micro USB, and this connection is hella flimsy, cumbersome, and susceptible to breaking. Any sort of whack going that way, this whole thing is donezo, and you got to get an entirely new one, just if that little connection breaks. Now, the pods are connected via magnets, and they also need to charge. You turn them on with this little button, you hold that down, it turns everything on, it'll go green once it's on and connected, or it'll flash red and green if it's on but not connected to the device. It uses two little male-female connectors right here. Let's take this off. And the corresponding male connectors are right here. Now they're really tiny and really thin, and so are these. And also to the person that made this, sorry that I think you're an idiot, but you designed this horribly, because not only will that micro USB connection break, but so will those two little leads. And if one of those little leads breaks, this thing can't charge, and you've got to buy an entirely new unit. The only way to figure out how to line it up is this incredibly microscopic line that goes here. There is no corresponding line on here, so trying to figure this out can be a little cumbersome, but that goes in there just like this. Also, this plastic case is just that. It's just a giant piece of cheapy plastic. One thing I wanted to mention that you might have seen, but I didn't allude to, is that this actually holds, the case holds the device itself, the wireless 2.0. It just goes up in this little slot right here. It just kind of clicks in, and then you're ready to go. Now, when it comes to the device itself, it's very small, very light, much smaller and lighter than the wired devices. Program-wise, this is the exact same thing as the Sport Elite. So you're getting a Sport Elite, but a wireless version with this weird wireless charging contraption for nearly twice the cost. All right, so that is the wireless 2.0. Because it's just like the Sport Elite, we're not going into what programs it has. Excuse me while I figure this out. Here are my recommendations. Let's start with Gen 2 and Gen 3. Should you save a little bit of money and buy the Gen 2 rather than spending a little bit more money and getting a Gen 3? No, you shouldn't. Like I said, it lacks the water resistance. It uses that horrible charging port. The screen sucks. There's no pad placement instructional. At this point, you could just chuck this. Go with a wired 3.0. Recommendations between all of these. If you're new to this, if you're just trying to dip your toe in, you don't want to get overwhelmed by all of the programs that some of these devices offer, go with the Edge, the Gen 3 Edge. All right, it's the cheapest, it has the least amount of programs, it's going to be the easiest to figure out, and it still covers all of your base. If you're someone who's looking to take your training to the next level, if muscle building and improving muscle quality is of high importance, grab yourself a performance, a wired 3.0 performance, or the wireless mini. If you're someone who wants all of the bells and whistles, maybe money isn't a big deal, or it's worth it to spend the money because your training, your fitness is of the utmost importance. Go with the wired 3.0 Sport Elite and not the wireless 2.0. Here's why. There's almost zero upside to this. I understand that it's wireless, but here's the problem. I've said this in every video I've done covering Compex. The way you get the most out of the device is by training with it, not just sitting on your couch and using a program or two. That's all you can do with this. Because of the design, these things come off your skin all the time. It makes training with this almost impossible because all of the weight is here. In the wireless devices, those leads, it's just the pad. Remember that this is passing an electrical signal through the skin, and electricity creates heat. The more heat that pad receives, the less sticky it becomes. When the pads come off, on the wireless ones, sometimes you have to reconnect the whole thing, and that signal gets amplified and can become very painful. Not to mention the simple pain in the ass factor that this thing comes with. Having to be so gentle with this stuff. Like, it's not robustly made. The case, cheap plastic. The leads, easily breakable. Both the micro USB and these little male-female connectors. If you break one, just one, if you damage one at all, you're out the entirety of your cost, like the $460. It's such a big footprint, like just traveling with this becomes a massive pain in the butt. I honestly don't know why this thing exists. If I were to recommend something to like 95% of you out there, it would be this one. This is the performance, not the Sport Elite. You're getting 70% of the program, 60% of the programs. This has 6 programs. The Sport Elite has 10. You're getting the same intensity as the Sport Elite. It's got the water resistance, but it's only $50 more than the Edge. So I think for your ultimate bang for the buck value, the wired 3.0 performance is the way to go. Now here's something fun. I'm actually giving this one away. How do you win? Really simple. All you gotta do is subscribe and leave a comment down below. That's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully you now have a complete understanding of what device is going to suit your needs the best. If so, could you do me a huge favor and hit that like button? Yes, it tells me which video you like to see, like which kind of videos you like to see, but more importantly, it tells the YouTube algorithm that this is a really good video and it should be promoted more so that people just like you who are trying to understand the same things can see this video a little more easily. Again, remember to hit that subscribe button so you can be eligible to win a brand new Compex performance. Thanks again for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.